to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. The burial ceremonies that are happening, that happened in Mount Kenya and are currently happening of Gen Zs who were killed on the J25th protest is really shocking. And what I'm going to demonstrate to you in this channel is actually heartbreaking scenes that at this point we must tell the president and the state that we must stop these tears rolling down the cheeks of parents in Mount Kenya. I'm specific. We must stop these tears. Something has to be done. When these young people die, the parents remain very broken. And at this rate, I think it is a bad tragedy that a region that woke up to the last man to vote for the president is turning out to be the center of mourning and grief. Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast goes to anyone who is listening to this and you are in the position of influence. Starting with this podcast. We need ceasefire. And whatever is happening should worry the president most. We are planting a seed of discord and dissent, and the seed that is gonna germinate ahead of 2027 will grow to be a big crisis that I feel we might not be able to address. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our videos. This podcast has been triggered by, I had a very long conversation by someone who is a subscriber in this channel. And he called me yesterday and he actually showed me another video that I'm going to show you here, that Kevin, he comes from Thika and is telling me yesterday the number of bodies that were being ferried. If you were in Thika Road all the way from Thika Road going to the other Mount Kenya areas, the number of bodies of caskets of young people, and if you see the photos, young people, the bodies that were leaving Thika or leaving Nairobi for different destinations in Mount Kenya, is the testimony that there's so many other deaths that happened that maybe were not reported. And it should worry. It should actually worry the president. We paid attention to Albert Ojwang's burial. And because the whole country was looking at Albert Ojwang's death, we maybe did not just see whatever was happening. And that is why I want you to watch this podcast to the end. Kindly subscribe. Subscription is absolutely free. The advantage here is when you subscribe to our channel, you'll be getting notifications whenever we publish our videos. And I still want to say thank you very much for your support. This one is Stephen Mwangi Njihia. Stephen Mwangi Njihia was buried yesterday. And this burial happened in Kirinyaga, in Muranga. Stephen was killed in Mwiki by a gunshot. These events, you can see the tears rolling down. If you look at that photo, Stephen was a 22-year-old boy. And you can see the way the family is broken on this. And while at this point, those who are restored with the responsibility, the justice system has been hacked by a narrative that those who were killed on protest were actually criminals, while these bodies, like the Stephen Mwangi Njihia, was not shot inside a supermarket, inside someone's shop, shot somewhere, just in the street. And after the family did post-mortem, they actually found out that Njihia was actually, there are 2 gunshots. I just wonder 2. Why even 2? You can see the family breaking down in tears. And something is, and in fact, this person is saying, the more, when you are in the comfort, maybe at home, and you see us plowing the villages, the mountain corridors, taking these young people to their homesteads for burial. I know those burials are not as hugely ceremonious as those ones from the Western Kenya. So they might not have attracted a national attention so much. But they're just too many to ignore. Not very far from Murang'a, this one is Kirinyaga County. Brian Maina, a father of 2, was laid to rest yesterday. You can see the Gen Zs carrying the flag, the symbol of protest, the symbol of peaceful protest that they've been showing the country, holding a flag with the remains of Brian. And he was shot in Kirinyaga, protesting. I don't even understand why someone would be shot in Kirinyaga, because Kirinyaga, there was no huge protest. Even if there is destruction of property, I did not hear of a supermarket broken into in Kirinyaga. It was not high voltage as even Nairobi. And if you listen to the story of Brian, for those who are speaking there, will understand that tears, we are actually destroying families, especially young families. We are destroying young families, and we are planting a seed of dissent and discord. You can see these young people, these are the ones that, what will stop them from going to street to demand justice for Brian? And
tuko na huzuni sana kama familia, sababu tumeachwa na kijana wetu Brian Maina ambaye ni mtoto mchanga sana. Alimaliza masomo yake juzi tu na akaoa na akapata watoto, na kusikia amekufa, na kukufa hakuna mtu anaweza enda kumchukua tena. Akikufa amekufa, tunasikia uchungu sana. Na Mungu ndiye ambaye anatupa moyo, na ndiye ambaye anaua. Na tunaambiwa na amri 10 za Mungu, usiue. Sababu Mungu ndiye ambaye anaua. Mungu ndiye anatupa maisha ya kukaa hapa duniani. Hivyo tuko na huzuni sana sababu ya huyu mtoto. Tuko na huzuni sana tukiona msichana mdogo ameachwa na watoto mjane.
I want you to listen to just a snippet from his story. By the way, this month I wanted to just stop any other project and support the Gen Z families. So I'm looking for the contact of Brian Maina wife from Kirinyaga. If any of you is a member of this channel and is from Kirinyaga, comes from, is it Kagumo or somewhere there, you can reach out to me so that we can do something. Yes, we cannot bring back life, but we can do something for these families. At least hata kama ni bibi na watoto, even if we can collect a small stipend and just kwenda tu kusema pole. We would really, this month I would commit to do that, just to support these families. I think it's very painful. And those who have my number, you can send me, can link me up to the family so that we can do something for her. One of the mourners there, and I wanted to watch this video, was actually confirming that the number of bodies that left Thika, that were on Thika Road, flying Mount Kenya, was actually worrying.
County Council pale Nairobi, kuna nyametolewa pale pengine. Leo Thika Road peke yake, siwezi hesabu zile maiti zimeenda kuzikwa leo. Barabara ya kwenda Nakuru hivyo. Ukambani hivyo. Ni more than 20 children tunazika siku ya leo. Muniambie tarehe 25 kila mwaka mwezi wa 6 tutakosa kukumbuka heroes aje? Just tell me that. Why should you kill our innocent children? What is happening to us? Mtu anaitwa president wetu Ruto ni asikize watoto, aite wakae chini waongee wasikizane. Last year alikanyishwa wakati ya finance bill, akasikia, akavunja kamati yote.
And all of them were, of course, state really made sure that burial are done the same day because they knew that on this day, the country was paying attention to what was happening in Homa Bay. Back to Muranga, Boniface Karaoke's home, another village in grief. This death is there. Boniface was shot. The whole country saw when a police officer shot Boniface Karaoke, a hawker who died holding the masks in his hand. Defenseless, a man who had been subdued, and the country still to date asks Baraza, the officer who shot Boniface, why exactly he killed that man. And in fact, looking at the behavior of that policeman, the viciousness that he meted on an innocent hawker, it is what is confirming to the people that there could have, while someone would say there are no orders, there's a problem. The home is broken. I've listened to some family members speak during the service. He's not been buried though. During the service that was actually underway, just mourning with the family. And you can understand, really, for Boniface, you can, I saw the president even donating 1 million for that family. Yes, some that were funded here and there. We can actually do more. And politicians attending the event were actually attacking Kome on prosecutions.
Tulikuwa na jambo ambayo ilikuwa inasumbua sana, ni jambo ya mashtaka ambayo itawekwa kwa hiyo kijana, ambayo kama familia tulikuwa tunataka kuona justice inafanyika katika hii kijana, kwa hii kijana. Na tumekuwa leo na mmoja ya kutoka the office of the president, the PS office, na wameconfirm ya kwamba wanafuatilia ya kwamba kijana atachukuliwa hatua ile inatakikana, kwa sababu the police force will not take any responsibility for somebody who is misbehaving. Kwa hivyo mashtaka itakuwa, serikali itasupport familia, ndio ikiwa wale vijana already wamewekwa katika remand, wakistakiwa wastakiwe katika manda, na ikitoka hapo tunaomba serikali bando na court iweze kucompensate for family.
Sometimes they are finding themselves in a very precarious situation whereby you just give yourself orders and then you're left to carry the burden alone. But for this particular case, it was not an order issued. The officer who shot Boniface was not under any threat. He just decided to pull the trigger and end the life of an innocent Kenyan. We are very much against it. We condemn, and we are requesting the police service, and we are requesting our courts to ensure that justice has been served as fast as possible, because very many cases waste a lot of time in court. And we're even calling our Chief Justice maneno ya makesi ya kuwa naangalia kotini na tukue tuna timeline. Kwa nini kesi moja ikae more than 3 years ama 4 years? If you don't have sufficient number of judges, we need to increase our judges. Na wakati mwingi mnasikianga judges sijui ameenda leave, wako leave. Families need justice and we need speed dispensation of that justice.
So they were there to shed some crocodile tears. Let's go to Molo. A 17-year-old Form 4 student, Davis Njuguna, was shot on his way from school heading home.
A Form 4 student who was shot dead during last week's protests in Molo has been laid to rest at his home in Molo, Nakuru County, as his family called for justice over his death. Dennis Njuguna was caught in the crossfire between police and protesters when he was shot while on his way home from school for the midterm break. Post-mortem examination conducted by government pathologist Titus Ngulungu revealed that Njuguna died from a close-range gunshot wound that injured his brain and caused excessive bleeding. The 17-year-old was among 18 people reported dead during the June 25th memorial protests that took place across 27 counties.
Akiwa kama kijana kitenda mimba kwa my aunt, hakika tulikuwa tumeona future ilikuwa bright. Sasa hivi tunahisi uchungu mwingi sana. Hata tukiwa pale tukiomboleza, tunatamani kusikia maneno yake. Wakati ambapo angekupata ukiwa na huzuni, alikuwa anazungumza tu jokes. Unahisi tu umefurahi. Hakuwa anataka kusikia ukiwa na huzuni.
So I have a lot of regrets why I did not extend my half term this year. And wonder if the boy, as the pastor has said, would be dead if he was in school.
Tuone haki ya hii kijana. Juu hii kijana hakuwa maandamano.
I just don't know whether this boy even died with school uniform. And sometimes you wonder where some policemen always just leave the station, and I want to read the names, always leave the station just to go and find out. I don't know there is a token or a stipend you get if you kill someone. The family here was demanding justice. Let's go back to Nyeri. Peter Mwangi was also allegedly shot during protests, and the family is equally asking questions.
Maandamano tu nilipiga simu, alafu hii kuchukuliwa. Ililia, ikakosa mtu. Tangu siku hiyo sijamuona.
Nyambura tried reaching his son again on Thursday morning, and his phone still went unanswered. The silence sparked fear. The family sought answers from his schoolmates.
Kazini pia mwingine alipiga simu, akasema ati kuna picha anaona zina trade, ati Peter ameonekana kwa barabara, amegongwa kichwa. Kuna mtu alitoka hapa akaenda akamwangalia na akakuta ni yeye.
Mimi nataka sana kujua ni nini ilimuua, kwa sababu hakukuwa mgonjwa. Alitoka hapa akaenda shule.
A post-mortem examination conducted at the Nyeri County Referral Hospital reveals that Mwangi succumbed to massive intracranial and a severe head injury caused by blunt force trauma to the skull. However, a morgue attendant reported seeing a bullet head inside the morgue as post-mortem exercise was ongoing.
I've just listed, and the list is long. Even if you read the comment section after this, they are there. And I took this challenge. Did you remember Citizen called names during their news gun? They picked names, calling them by names. And by the way, you said we will call them by names. Those are Kenyans. Bodies, but those are Kenyans. And we must tell ourselves the truth. We must tell ourselves. We want to move on, but we must not forget. Coincidentally, these stories are not getting huge coverage. Even the Kikuyu media stations are not giving them very big coverage. And that can be statecraft. The other observation we also realize is that apart from karaoke, the government, which one trended and they gave some 1 million and of course some Kinwa Mgongo, so many other of those families I've mentioned did not get government support. Even on the burial expenses. One was even complaining about how they were doing it. But of course, they're not fairly normally very expensive. You also understand that we are in a mess because these families, you can see, even the will of justice is very slow. I saw the president promising Kariuki's father that we'll make sure that those who killed the son are brought to book. It is not the president to ensure someone is brought to book. It should not. The system should be effective enough to apprehend lawbreakers and the rogue police. It should not be president's prerogative to ensure that so-and-so is jailed. It is not that way. And the moment the president is promising you that I'll make sure those who killed Kariuki rots in jail, then you know there is a problem. We are making a big blunder. These tears are way too many. And this is the danger. 3 dangers. Number 1, we are brewing revolution. Remember, the story of this country, especially in Mount Kenya, is always about how Mau Mau fought for this country. Shed blood. Shed blood. Now, these young people that are now moving to villages to bury their colleagues whom they spent 2 or 5 minutes in the street. I want you to imagine you were in the street and you saw someone being shot. Can it leave your mind? And do you even feel safe? So we are making a big disaster because then there is a revolution to protect human rights. Number 2. The moment the sanctity of life is under threat, people will lose their fear. And that is why I normally say, people lose their fear. Someone will feel like it's not a matter of you being in the streets. You can be shot. Look at the boy from Molo. And the president failing to protect the sanctity of life. It's a problem. Number 3, and which is also a very bad plant, big seed we are planting. The president's hand will be smeared and is being smeared with serious blood. I saw a story of him, president saying he's building a church, that you know me a church person. Mr. President. Na hizi stories. We are, and then that brings the rejection. Remember, it doesn't matter how much you raise to build a church. It doesn't matter how you being church saved or not saved or all that, only is reflected through the actions and how you take church. But if we cannot crush the dark side of the state, someone argued, it's a document we don't want to have. Duga mtu, kesho anaweza restock. Can you return back life? Instead of shooting these young people, why don't the police go and stand or protect those businesses? And in fact, the people being killed are not goons, because no one has been killed in front of a supermarket, or no one has been killed carrying a TV. When Boniface was shot in the street, was Boniface holding a packet of unga from a supermarket? Was Boniface carrying a TV on his back from someone's shop or a laptop? Boniface was carrying masks, which actually he was selling that day, because during that time people normally buy masks kujifunika, kwanza wasionekane. Number 2, to make sure kwamba they can protect themselves from inhaling the tear gas. So, as a country, we have a long way to go. We must really make sure, the president must make sure, these numbers are a bit too high, the MPs are silent about it, but us we will talk, because that is what the media is here for. Thank you.